All Italians race to La Spiaggia in summer, leaving the hinterland marvellously empty. Tuscany gets a lot of love, but if you travel just one region over to Umbria, Monti Sibillini National Park really bewitches with views of the Apennines and these eyrie-like honey-coloured hill towns such as Castelluccio soaring above a plateau of brightly coloured poppies, cornflowers and daisies. It's a gorgeous spot for hiking, biking and honestly tracking down a trattoria to dig into specialities such as wild boar with locally grown lentils. You'll find some of Italy's finest salami in butcher shops in Norcia, as well as black truffles on the menus of restaurants such as the Michelin-starred Vespasia, which is in a 16th century palazzo. Alternatively, you could join a tartuffaio and their dog to head into the woods on a truffle hunting tour. How to do it. Organic farm agriturismo Casale nel Parco dei Monti Sibillini doubles from £84 bed and breakfast, has truffles and wild herbs in its grounds and a terrific restaurant serving up local and homegrown produce. If you take rugged highland scenery and, turn the volume up, you get the Cairngorms National Park, a 1,748 square mile expanse of lochs, glens, forests and munros. Providing the weather behaves, you'll be itching to get outdoors, whether climbing 1,245 metre Cairngorm or 1,309 metre Ben McDewey, spotting capercaillie, red squirrels and ospreys in the Caledonian pine forest of Rothy Mercus Estate, or meeting the region's free-roaming reindeer on a hill trip. There are wild swimming spots such as remote Loch Coya and Lochain, and visitors can go biking on Cairngorm Mountains slopes. By night, there's fantastic stargazing in the Cairngorms Dark Sky Park around Tomintoul and Glenlivet. How to do it. A train from London to Aviemore takes 7 to 8 hours. It's free to wild camp in the park or, stay at a self-catering forest cabin at Cairngorm Lodges 2 nights from £264 on the park's eastern fringes. Between the Brandenburg Alps and the limestone turrets of the Wilder Kaiser Massif, Kufstein is a full-on alpine fantasy, capped with a medieval fortress. The fact that it's a living town rather than a resort means there's a great buzz here in summer. And, Kufstein's backyard is beautiful. Within minutes, you can reach Wilder Kaiser's hiking trails on a single-seat chairlift floating above treetops and meadows to the 1,256 metre peak of Brentenjoch. The landscape is dotted with lakes such as forest-rimmed Hechtsee, mountain-flanked Stimmersee and glass-green Thiersee, where you can dive into some of Austria's cleanest waters or, if you like, rent a paddleboard. How to do it. Kufstein is half an hour from Innsbruck or an hour from Munich by train. Camp by the lakes or stay in town at historic Oracher Löchel with doubles from £175 bed and breakfast. The local guest pass gives you free use of public transport. With the Alps running across 60% of Switzerland, it's incredible that this green and lovely land has just one national park, but honestly, it's a good one. Slamming into Italy, the Swiss National Park in Graubünden's Engadin Valley is an utterly wild UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. Nature has been in charge here since the park's formation in 1914, and as a result, it's hiking heaven. The full-day 13-mile trek from Zernez to Lys de Macun, the Macun Lakes, takes in a plateau beaded with 23 alpine lakes. If you prefer company, you can sign up for guided ranger walks, including a wildlife-focused one in the Val Trupchun, where, with a bit of luck and binoculars, you might spot marmots, ibex, chamois, deer, and bearded vultures. So how do you do it? Well, with good rail connections, Zernez is the gateway to the park and home to the visitor centre. Guided ranger hikes cost about £36, and for an off-grid sleep, you can book Chamana Kluodza. Dorm beds are £64. Deep in a forest, the hut is about a 3.5-hour hike from Zernez. Oh, and don't forget to bring your sleeping bag. For uplifting views of the Alps by bike without the uphill slog, Lake Constance is honestly unbeatable. Central Europe's third largest lake, it delivers a massive shot of everything that makes Europe great. Roman ruins, medieval castles, gardens, gorges, wetlands, vineyards, orchards, thermal baths and beaches where you can strip off sweaty lycra for a quick swim, or even spend the night camping under the stars. Looping around the lake and taking about a week to complete the 170-mile or 273-kilometre Lake Constance cycle path. Bodensee Radweg, as it's known locally, is the biggie, rolling through 3 countries, Germany, Austria and Switzerland. So how do you do it? Well, to avoid the midsummer madness of July and August, go for fewer crowds. Bikes and e-bikes can be rented in towns fringing the lake. Constance in Germany is a great springboard with good rail connections. Mother Nature had a wild time in Jostedalsbreen National Park in western Norway, delivering a visual feast of mountain-flanked fjords, ice-blue glacial lakes, and the clincher, the 37-mile-long Jostedalsbreen, mainland Europe's biggest ice cap. Ways to explore are many and varied. There's an easy 4-mile round trek past waterfall-wisped peaks to Briksdalsbreen, an offshoot of the mighty glacier, or an opportunity to kayak, canoe and paddleboard across the turquoise waters of Lovetnet Lake, with rock walls punching above. For a close encounter with the ice, slip on a helmet and crampons to trek across the Haugabreen arm of the glacier. How to do it. On the dreamy shores of Lovetnet Lake, sandy camping with pitches from just £18 is a crazily pretty spot to pitch a tent. Bregfjell mountain guides run 6-hour guided glacier walks costing £84 from mid-June to August. If you think Lake Bled is ridiculously lovely, wait until you clap eyes on Lake Bohinj, tucked away in the Julian Alps that tear across Triglav National Park in Slovenia's northwest. Here, limestone turrets and pinnacles rise like natural fortifications above forests and glacial lakes that chart the spectrum of blues and greens. The loveliest of the lot is mirror-like Lake Bohinj, where you can dive into jewel-coloured waters that reach 22 degrees Celsius in summer. The Pebble Beach in Ukang on the lake's western shore is as lovely a spot as any. Arrive early in the morning and you'll have it all to yourself as you swim, canoe, kayak or paddleboard in glassy waters. So how do you do it? Well, you can pitch a tent right on the shore at the eco-friendly Camp Bohinj with pitches starting from £25, and at the boathouse, Pack Sport rents out paddleboards, canoes, kayaks and even these charming wooden rowboats. In the fiery blush of a summer sunset, the Dolomites are at their most entrancing as the gold-pink light burnishes their buttresses, pinnacles and those great fangs of rock. You can admire them from below, but honestly you'll get much closer on the 75-mile Alta Via Uno, which is one of Italy's most memorable hikes, stretching all the way from Dobbiaco in the north to Belluno in the south. Negotiating steep rocky inclines is rewarded with these absolutely sublime views and stays at rustic huts like Rifugio Lagazuoi and Rifugio Cinquetorri. There you can dig into local specialities like polenta, venison and canederli, those delicious bread dumplings with speck and cheese, peer up at star-blanketed night skies and get a crack of dawn start on the trail. So how do you do it? While the walk is certainly doable alone, just be sure to book huts ahead for summer and get hold of Cicerone's Alta Via Uno guide. Logistically, it's honestly easier to join a tour like the 10-night trip offered by Alpine Exploratory, starting from £2,880 if guided, or £1,790 for self-guided. Where the Bavarian Alps muscle their way into Austria, Füssen looks like something out of a children's story. The old town's alleys are stacked with gabled, frescoed houses and cafe-lined squares, and lofty castles bear the fantastical imprint of Mad King Ludwig II, who lived from 1845 to 1886. Mad or not, he had an eye for a winning location, which you'll appreciate when you visit the riotously turreted and recently revamped Schloss Neuschwanstein, which was actually the blueprint for Disney's Sleeping Beauty Castle, and medieval Hohenschwangau, where little Ludwig grew up. There's hiking, cycling and swimming at the lakes around Füssen, such as Forgensee, Hopfensee and Alpsee. All can be reached by bus for free with the local Füssen card. How to do it? Füssen is about 2 hours from Munich by bus and train. Just check bahn.de for details. Take your pick of hotels and B&Bs in the town, such as Hotel Son, with doubles from £130 bed and breakfast right in the historic centre. Or, if you prefer, you can camp by one of the lakes. The French Alps punch high above Morzine in Porte du Soleil, 12 resorts strung between Lake Geneva and mighty Mont Blanc. Everyone raves about winter skiing in this chalet-lined village, but there's really a lot happening in summer when the steep slopes are given over to one of the world's biggest bike parks, 400 miles of single tracks and heart-racing downhill trails. An extensive network of bike-friendly lifts links them up nicely if you're up for a bone-rattling challenge. Tackle the Noir de Morzine from the Le Plenet cable car station. After you've stripped off sweaty lycra and body armour, cool off with a swim in one of the crystal clear lakes on Morzine's doorstep, such as mountain-classed Lac de Montréal or forest-rimmed Mines d'Or. You can reach both within minutes on the free village buses. So how do you get there? Alpi Transfers runs regular coaches between Geneva Airport and Morzine, which takes about 2 hours, and a one-way ticket costs £17. Just a heads up, pre-booking is essential. Morzine's multipass gives you access to lifts, lakes and lidos for just £2.50 a day. And if you're looking for a rustic chic place to sleep, check into Jardin Secret in Montreal. Doubles start from £115 and it's a self-catering micro-lodge with a sun terrace, hot tub and really easy access to both the slopes and lakes. Spain is honestly at its most ravishing in the 250 square mile Picos de Europa National Park up in the Cantabrian mountains of the north. Here you can hike among jagged lake-splashed peaks, ancient oak and beech forests, and these deep wildflower-flecked valleys where it can be so quiet you might actually hear your own heartbeat, or maybe the cry of a golden eagle. The untamed terrain here is best explored with a guide. For a real adventure, Much Better Adventures arranges a challenging hut-to-hut trek, ticking off amazing highs like the glacial lakes of Covadonga, the 2,319-metre summit of La Padierna, and the sheer-walled Cairns Gorge. So how do you do it? Much Better Adventures 6-night small group trek costs from £875 per person, and that includes local guides, breakfast, dinner, plus stays in mountain huts and rural guest houses. Most people who head to Croatia dash straight to the coast, but just a step back from the Adriatic is the UNESCO World Heritage Site Plitvice Lakes National Park. Against the backdrop of the karstic Dinaric Alps, the park has mineral-rich springs, cascading falls, caves and lakes that glitter jade, aquamarine, ink blue and turquoise. Brown bears, wild boar, lynx and wolves prowl the old-growth beech and fir forests, and clouds of blue-winged butterflies bring a fairy tale touch in summer. For a true flavour of the park, bring binoculars and follow the 11-mile Route K, a full-day hike that knits together all 16 of the lakes. So, how to do it? From Zagreb, buses and Flixbus coaches run frequently to Plitvička jezera in just over 2 hours. There are lots of traditional stone and wood villas where you can spend the night, including Villa Verde, with doubles from £93 bed and breakfast. Switzerland's outrageously beautiful Jungfrau region is the Alps on steroids, with its crashing waterfalls, gemstone lakes, cliff-hugging villages, and the glacier-capped big three of the Eiger, Munch and Jungfrau looming above it all. You could base yourself anywhere in these heights and reach the summits within minutes on vintage railways and state-of-the-art cable cars. But honestly, Grindelwald has the edge for outdoor adventure. As lively in summer as winter, the village has front-row views of the Eiger's mile-high north face. The Eiger Express cable car links up to Eiger Gletscher, the trailhead for the astoundingly scenic 2-hour Eiger Trail. Or you can thunder towards the Eiger on zip lines, mountain carts and chunky scooters called trotty bikes from the first cable car station above Grindelwald. So here's how to do it. Grindelwald is well connected by rail, and honestly you can get there in around 9 hours from London, passing through Paris, Strasbourg, Basel and Interlaken. Hotels are pretty pricey, but you can save some money by camping at Riverside Gletscherdorf, with pitches starting from £36. Skyscraping peaks, scary slopes and après-ski parties draw folk to St. Anton am Arlberg in Tyrol in winter. But when the snow melts, the village reveals its mellower side, with trails skipping through flower-freckled pastures to alpine dairy huts like Putzenalpe, where you can sample a breddeljaus, that's a sharing board of local ham and cheese, and just watch the bell-swinging cows come home in the honeyed light of late afternoon, if you want to zone out even more from the rush of daily life. St. Anton is right up there with the best places in the Alps for a spot of peak gazing while doing yoga. You can pick a meadow to practice your positions or sign up for classes and retreats at Alflo. How to do it. St. Anton is an hour from Innsbruck by train. In early September, the 4-day Mountain Yoga Festival, celebrating its 10th anniversary in 2025, brings some of the world's best teachers and yogis to the heights with outdoor sessions, sunrise meditation, alpine pasture hikes, talks and workshops. Run by passionate mountain lovers, Piltricatron doubles from £113 bed and breakfast, is a stylish, welcoming lodge in the heart of St. Anton. Come summer, conga lines of hikers trot up Wales' highest peak, 1,085 metre Ywydfa, also known as Snowdon. If you would prefer to give them the slip, head south to Cefn Coed, a 17th century off-grid Welsh farm estate embedded in a wooded valley, where the slopes of Cadair Idris roll down to the shifting sands of the Mordach estuary. It's all about embracing the wild side of Eryri or Snowdonia here, whether you're striking out on foot on the 9-mile Mordach Trail, which follows an old slate railway track, practicing yoga in nature, going wildlife tracking or foraging for edibles you can transform into pickles, powders and pestos. Find your own wild swim spots along the river by day and go on a starlit walk across the estate to look out for owls, badgers and on midsummer nights, glowworms. How to do it. Cambrian Line trains stop in Barmouth, 4 miles from CFN Coed, where you can camp in a clearing in Oak Woods. Pitches are £25 to £35, or for bigger groups there's a 12-bed bunkhouse in the farm's original dairy and bakehouse with 2-night stays from £350.